At 81, Shelley Fabares finally tells the truth about Annette Funicello. Shelley Fabares was born Michelle Marie Fabares on January 19, 1944 in Santa Monica, California. She was surrounded by the entertainment world from a very young age. Raised by her mother after her parents got divorced, she had help from an important family connection. Her aunt was actress Annette Funicello, a huge star of Broadway, movies, and television. Being close to show business gave Shelley early chances to see professional performances, but it didn't promise success, only the opportunity to try. Fabares started modeling and appearing in commercials when she was a child, learning discipline and good manners long before most of her friends. Her natural warmth, expressive eyes, and natural emotional smarts made her really well suited for television, which was quickly becoming America's favorite form of entertainment in the late 1950s. Shelley Fabares' most important role came in 1958 when she was cast as Mary Stone, the daughter of Donna Reed's character on The Donna Reed Show. Over 6 seasons, Fabares grew up in front of the camera, changing from a bright, somewhat innocent teenager into a thoughtful young woman dealing with the emotional challenges of being a teenager and young adult. What made Fabares different from many young TV actresses of that time was how real her emotions seemed. Her performances were down to earth, honest, and easy to relate to, letting audiences see their own daughters or themselves in her struggles and wins. She was not just America's daughter. She was a reflection of young people after the war, changing along with a changing nation. While still starring on The Donna Reed Show, Shelley Fabares got a surprising and big second career as a pop singer. In 1962, she recorded Johnny Angel, a soft, longing song that captured the emotional feelings of teenage crushes. The song became a huge hit, reaching #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 and made her a real teen idol. Unlike many novelty recordings by television stars, Fabares' music connected with people because it was sincere. Her voice, gentle and emotionally open rather than technically flashy, perfectly fit the time's romantic feelings. She followed up with other successful recordings such as Johnny Loves Me and Johnny Get Angry, showing range and growing confidence as a singer. Though she eventually stepped away from music, her brief recording career remains an important part in early 1960s pop history, representing the crossover appeal that defined that time. As the 1960s went on, Shelley Fabares faced the same challenge as many former child and teen stars, changing her image. She met this challenge with smarts and control, slowly moving into more mature and emotionally complicated roles. One of the most important turning points in her career came through her work with Elvis Presley. Fabares appeared opposite Presley in 3 films: Girl Happy in 1965, Spin Out in 1966, and Clambake in 1967. Among Presley's many leading ladies, Fabares stood out for her acting ability and down-to-earth presence, bringing humor, warmth, and realness to roles that could easily have been shallow. These films expanded her audience and showed her ability to hold her own alongside one of the biggest stars in the world. Perhaps the most praised by critics phase of Shelley Fabares' career came later when she reinvented herself as a dramatic actress in television. In 1989, Shelley Fabares stepped into what would become one of the defining roles of her later career when she was cast as Christine Armstrong on the ABC sitcom Coach. At a time when television was still finding space for complicated, career-driven female characters, Fabares immediately saw the opportunity in front of her. Here was an intelligent, funny, well-written series, she later said, and the people making it wanted me to play a very successful, ambitious woman in it. For Fabares, who had spent decades changing from beloved child star to respected adult actress, the role felt both perfectly timed and deeply satisfying. Christine Armstrong was smart, confident, emotionally steady, and professionally accomplished. A woman who was far more than a romantic accessory to the male lead. Instead, she stood as an equal partner, bringing wit, warmth, and quiet authority to the show. Although Coach did not start out as a huge hit right away, things changed dramatically when ABC moved it to air after the hugely popular Roseanne. With that smart move, The series found its audience and quickly grew into one of the network's most reliable hits. Week after week, viewers tuned in not only for the sports-themed comedy, but also for the natural chemistry between Fabares and Craig T. Nelson. The show's success carried it through 8 seasons, staying on the air until 1997 and making Fabares' reputation as a television regular who could anchor a long-running series with grace and consistency. Praise from critics soon followed. For her performance on Coach, Fabares earned 2 Primetime Emmy Award nominations, proof of her ability to bring detail and emotional intelligence to a sitcom format. In 1994, she received an especially meaningful honor when a Young Artist Foundation presented her with its Former Child Star Lifetime Achievement Award. The recognition celebrated not only her role as Christine Armstrong, but also her lasting legacy as Mary Stone on The Donna Reed Show, honoring a career that had successfully bridged generations and time periods of television. When Coach ended in 1997, Fabares smoothly transitioned into voice acting, taking on the role of Martha Kent in Superman, the animated series. Her warm, comforting voice brought emotional depth to the character, earning praise from both longtime fans and a new generation of viewers. She would later do the role again in Justice League, and again in the direct-to-video feature Superman Brainiac Attacks in 2006, further cementing her place in the Superman legacy. In 1964, at the height of her youthful fame, and just as her career was growing beyond teen idol status, Shelley Fabares married record producer Lou Adler, one of the most influential figures in the music industry of that time. Although the marriage started with great promise, the pressures of demanding careers and life in the public eye slowly took their toll. The couple separated only 2 years later in 1966. Yet their legal ties were not formally cut until 1980. True and lasting love arrived years later. In 1984, Fabares married actor Mike Farrell, widely admired not only for his work on screen, especially on MASH, but also for his integrity, intelligence, and humanitarian spirit. Their marriage has long been seen as one of Hollywood's quiet success stories, lasting, supportive, and refreshingly free of scandal. Together, they build a partnership based on mutual respect, shared values, and deep affection, proving that lasting love in the entertainment world is not only possible, but deeply rewarding. Fabares' strength was tested in a far more serious way in October 2000 when she faced a life-threatening health crisis. Diagnosed with autoimmune hepatitis, a rare and severe condition in which the body attacks its own liver, she had a liver transplant that ultimately saved her life. The ordeal was physically and emotionally exhausting. Yet, she faced it with the same strength and grace that had defined her decades-long career. Supported by Farrell and her loved ones, Fabares came out of the experience with renewed gratitude and perspective, becoming a powerful example of courage and perseverance. At 81 years old, Shelley Fabares speaks with the quiet authority of someone who has lived a full life, loved deeply, and outlasted an era that once sparkled with youthful promise. When she finally opens up about Annette Funicello, it is not to chase headlines or bring back nostalgia for its own sake, but to honor a bond created in the golden age of American television. A friendship shaped by fame, vulnerability, and deep mutual respect. People always think they know Annette because they saw her smile, Fabares says gently, but they didn't know how brave she really was. Both women grew up in Hollywood at a time when young actresses were expected to be endlessly cheerful, obedient, and grateful. Annette Funicello, America's sweetheart from the Mickey Mouse Club, carried the weight of being a national symbol of innocence. Shelley Fabares, rising to fame as Elvis Presley's love interest in Girl Happy and as Mary Stone on The Donna Reed Show, understood that pressure very well. We were growing up in public, Fabares explains. There was no room to be human. Annette felt that more than anyone. Behind the scenes, Funicello struggled with expectations that denied her complexity. She was smart, funny, and sharper than people realized, Fabares recalls. But Hollywood wanted her frozen in time, as if growing older was some kind of betrayal. Fabares admits that watching Annette deal with that contradiction left a lasting impression on her. It taught me how cruel fame can be when it loves an image more than a person. As Annette's health began to get worse due to multiple sclerosis, the cruelty of that system became even more clear. What broke my heart, Fabares says, was how quietly she endured it. She didn't want pity. She wanted dignity. Funicello chose to reveal her illness publicly in 1992, hoping to raise awareness and help others. Fabares remembers that moment clearly. That took enormous courage. She was scared, but she was determined. The two women talked often during those years, sharing fears that only someone from the same world could truly understand. Annette once told me, "I don't want to be remembered for what I lost, but for what I gave," Fabares says, her voice softening. That's who she was, thinking of others even when she was hurting. Fabares rejects the idea that Funicello's later years were defined by tragedy alone. There was sadness, yes, she says, but there was also so much love. Her family, her faith, her strength. That's the real story. She pauses before adding, "She taught me that strength doesn't always roar. Sometimes it whispers, 'I'm still here.'" Now, decades after their rise to fame, Fabares thinks about survival, friendship, and truth. "People ask why I'm speaking now," she says. "It's because time gives you clarity, and Annette deserves honesty, not myth." At 81, Shelley Fabares no longer feels bound by Hollywood's old rules. In telling the truth about Annette Funicello, she offers more than remembrance. She offers a lesson in grace, loyalty, and the quiet heroism of enduring with dignity.